You are tired of average. You want more out of life. You know you're capable of something greater. This show will help you become resilient in your home, at work, and in your community. Welcome to the Resilient Humans Podcast with your host, Kevin Wood. Welcome back to the Resilient Humans Podcast, and today's guest is a living, breathing reminder that resilience isn't just about grit, it's about creating a life that is fully lived. Matt Bourque is a father of twins, a devoted husband, an entrepreneur, an adventurer, and someone who's been in the pit and climbed out. From building and selling a business, to carving mountain bike trails for fun, to rebuilding his life after a brutal stretch during the COVID lockdowns that nearly broke him, Matt's the kind of guy who squeezes every last drop out of life. He's deeply passionate about helping other dads and humans live to their full potential through fitness, financial freedom, and meaningful experiences. He's not here to preach about perfection. He's here to share the real stuff about pushing through dark times, leaning into movement, and redefining what it means to thrive. Matt, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you very much. That was quite the introduction. I appreciate that.
My pleasure. I love writing them. It's great. Yeah. So we know each other, obviously, and I think most of our listeners would know that. So some may not. I actually just got in contact with a listener the other day that she's from somewhere in the States. I was like, this is crazy. Like, they're all over the world. So you never know. So
yeah,
for those,
that's the best part about the podcast, right? Creating new content or contacts and meeting new people. It's so cool.
It's really cool. So Matt was the former owner of CrossFit YQM. Matt and I had many talks back in the day about the struggles of owning a gym, especially during COVID. Matt, can you just tell us what you've been up to since those days?
Yeah, sure. So I sold my gym back in December 2020. So like right in the middle of COVID. So it was a bit of a less than ideal exit, but at that time it was the right thing for me to do for myself personally. I took about a year of figuring stuff out. I tried a few things. Funny enough, I had a vague retirement period of let's say 1 month. And through that 1 month, it was a cool realization that when you retire, it's not everything that you ever dreamed of, at least not for people of our personality, because we need something to wake up to every morning, a mission to wake up to every morning. So it was actually one of the darkest times of my life. Right after I sold the gym, I really I was burnt out from, the COVID days of the gym, but I also lost my direction a little bit, lost my drive to wake up and, strive to do some good and to help people every day. And so during that year, I kind of went through a bit of a dark phase, and slowly recharged my batteries. I did stick to, daily fitness or daily movement as much as I could. And I think that was a helping factor to helping me come out of that dark hole slowly. And professionally, I tried a few things. I thought I, didn't need to be an entrepreneur anymore. And I could do just like a, everyday normal person job, which there's nothing whatsoever wrong with that. But I quickly figured out that, as I thought the previous 10 years of my life, that wasn't for me. So after taking a corporate job and going through those motions for about a year, I realized that wasn't going to fulfill me and fill my cup, as they say. And so that brought me into a bit of a new passion in the marketing world. So I had been, getting into photography for a few years prior to that. And so I decided to get into it a bit more seriously, which translated into starting my own marketing agency, which I still run to this day, specializing in content creation and social media management, helping businesses mostly locally with their marketing stuff and, creating a cool vibe and a cool brand around those businesses.
That's so cool. And so obviously it was a big setback, and you were obviously in a dark season, as you mentioned. Many people would have stayed stuck after a setback. What do you think made you move instead of freeze during that time?
Well, I can't say that it was like I didn't handle it, the better than anyone else. But I think what saved me, it's a very slow process. Like I think everyone's gonna go through it differently. And it might be 6 months for some people, it might be 6 years for some people. I think the thing that people really need to know is this is not a life sentence. So no matter how long it takes you to dig yourself out from that deep hole, you can come out of it, right? And I think there's a few important things that really helped me stay on course to, digging myself out of that. Regular movement, like just, it was different. Like, I'd been a CrossFit competitor. I've done some events like ultra marathons and stuff like that prior to that, which would have been like, I'm going to call it like my peak, if you will, of athletic performance. And then during that dark time, like that wasn't a realistic thing to focus on. I wasn't going to do a 100-kilometer trail run or, big things like that. It was more so like go outside and do something. Back then, my gravel bike was kind of like my go-to thing. I would put a podcast on and I would just get in the zone and pedal with no real goal aside from being outside, getting in that positive kind of mindset, listening to something that was constructive, and then doing exercise coincidentally at the same time. I never gave up CrossFit, but I think I needed a bit of time away from my old gym. So I went there occasionally, maybe like once every 2 weeks was probably my average for a good 6 months to a year. And just kind of following, like really prioritizing wellness. Like I never forget about my foundation, right? Like I know, even no matter how dark it gets, no matter how much I don't feel like doing it, I know that that's always going to be one thing that's going to help. At least that day is going to help you make your day better and feel better, right? And I think the other thing I would probably say is surround yourself with people that want you to win, right? So during that time where I was personally going through a bit of a struggle, if I would have surrounded myself with negative people or people that I don't know are less than ideal to hang out with, people that don't prioritize their health and so on, it would have definitely been it would have definitely not helped my situation. So I found a lot of good friends through mountain biking, and obviously the gym also along the years, friends that I've had for a while. And I try to choose to hang out with those people as much as possible and exclude the rest from my life as much as possible, right? And I think those two things are mainly like the real like two blaring things for me that helped me, dig myself out of that hole. And then after that, I was back at the level where I'm like, okay, I can take on the world now. What, like, I want to do more than just work at my corporate job. I really want to do something I'm passionate about again. Right. And then, okay, I want to step up my fitness from like, being like healthy to being very fit, So going back to that kind of, I don't know, elite level, if you will.
So it sounds like, and I want our listeners to get this takeaway from this, is that it wasn't like one day you just woke up and you're like, all right, baby, I'm back, right? It's this slow,
Absolutely not.
gradual process, and that's okay. A lot of people think that they need this eye-opening, dramatic moment to be like, okay, now I'm back into it. And that's realistically not going to happen for most people. So
Mhm.
you mentioned, two non-negotiables, movement and then meaningful connections. Were there any other non-negotiables that you think you had to help you during that time?
I think there are a lot of other things that contribute. Like also, like I would put, the fitness side, I would put nutrition into that too. But that's always been like a non-negotiable for me. Like I've
Mm-hmm.
never hit rock bottom where I didn't eat well at all. Like that's just the way I live. I do have some, ups and downs where I eat better or, where I allow myself to treat myself a little bit more. Um, I think one more thing that I tend to realize now is during that time frame, there was a bit more alcohol, kind of like in my, I'm going to say every day, but every week life. It wasn't a ton of consumption, but looking back, like that would have been something that if I would have deprived myself of a little bit more, I think it would have helped the process go a little bit faster now that I've kind of excluded alcohol from my life. Most of the time I know how much of a difference it makes. Um, but I really think like if you focus on, it's kind of like a snowball effect. So if you add one of the things that I've talked about to your daily process, I think everything else is going to come naturally. Like if you go to CrossFit Moncton, let's say, you're surrounding yourself with like-minded people. So that just happens naturally, right? So go to CrossFit Moncton for 1 month. That could change your life right there. And it's like everything else is just coincidental. So you started CrossFit Moncton and like to get bigger biceps, let's say.
Right.
But with those bigger biceps came better friends. With those better friends came better food choices. With better food choices came less alcohol consumption. With less alcohol consumption came, I don't know, I have $100 more per month. I'm going to save $100, put that in a savings account or an investment account. Oh, next thing you know, I have financial freedom. It's a snowball effect. Like one positive decision brings probably 10 other positive things with it.
And I've noticed that, and I'm sure you've noticed many examples of that, where it's as soon as people start to focus on their fitness, it's the other things that start to change, and it's rarely the other way around. People usually don't start with, hey, I made some financial decisions that were great. Now I'm going to start focusing on my fitness. Like it rarely ever goes that way. It's always fitness starts it. I wonder why that is. Like we talk about that, and I just want to go back into like, why is that the thing? Why is fitness the catalyst for all those other changes?
I mean, I think you could blame a few angles there. Like I think doing hard things like hard CrossFit workouts change your mindset. It changes your mindset about things in life, like out from outside the gym, right? So I remember clearly when specifically when I started CrossFit, not long after I started my gym, and it was the biggest challenge of my life at that time was starting a new business. But I would often refer in my mind, like, I've done a lot of super hard workouts and I've never died. So I'm going to do this hard thing in business and I'm not going to die. Like it's temporary, right? So I think the mindset of like doing hard things is okay. And it's also necessary to break through to the next level. I think that's a huge part of working out. It's like it allows you to see what you're capable of, because we're all attracted naturally to comfort, right? That's like comfort is the natural human attraction. That's what we want. We want to believe that it's okay that we stay in our current situation, whether it's financial, our job, our health, our food habits, our alcohol consumption. If someone tells me, Kevin, you know what? You're 12 beers a week. Enjoy life, like drink those 12 beers a week. You
only live once.
Yeah, you're going to be like, oh, thank you so much, right? Because that's what you want to hear. So I think if you expose yourself like to the uncomfortable on a regular basis, which is what happens at the gym, whatever type of fitness you do, whether it's cycling or CrossFit or going to Good Life or whatever it is, I think people should first of all make sure those workouts are hard. Don't be comfortable. If you're comfortable in the gym, you're also doing that wrong. Yep. Some days you just want to move, and that's awesome. That's healthy. But 3-4 days a week, you should be uncomfortable doing your workout. And I think that's where that's going to translate. Like that mindset is going to become a habit. So you're going to translate it to your professional career, whether you decide to, work for a corporation or go on your own. I think it's going to unlock things for you, right? Like people are going to recognize your mentality. And I think it's just a snowball effect. Like people are just going to see that. They're going to recognize like what type of person you are. You're going to be continuously putting yourself in uncomfortable positions. Yep. And that's really where the magic happens. And you're probably going to get haters, or like your friends are going to chirp you because you're not drinking or whatever. But somewheres down the road, they're either going to look up to you, thank you,
yep,
or look at you and have their own regrets. Like, man, I wish I would have stopped drinking 5 years ago. Like, I'm fat now.
And you may never know that. You may never know if that's what they think, or if you even influence them at all, right? So keep living the life that you want to live, not the life that people expect you to live. Big difference.
100%.
Cool. The other part of that is not just joining and doing hard things, but I think another component is surrounding yourself with people that will call you out on your own bullshit as well. So I've been known to not sugarcoat anything. So this just happened today. Somebody was in this morning. They went through our fundamentals program and they refused to skip. They're like, I'm not skipping. I'm like, okay, why? I just can't, my body can't do it. And then today they were skipping and we're like, you're going to do it today. Like there's no more bullshit here. Like you've been coming for a while now. It's happening. And she ended up skipping for the first time in her life. And then she's like, where can I get a skipping rope? Now I need to practice, because we called her out on it. Yep. But if we hadn't have done that, she would have went right into that comfort zone again. Like, this is something that I don't do, therefore I'm never going to do it. Called her out, and now she's excited to work on it. Like, how cool is that? So surrounding yourself with people that are willing to call you out on that bullshit. Like, you're drinking 12 beers every night. I'm going to call you out on that. I'm going to say, you're ruining your life, and you're ruining the life of the people that are around you. Are you okay with that?
Yeah. I think people are quick to say that, or are quick to say that you're hurting them, or like it's hurtful when you tell them certain truth. But I think it's actually hurtful if you hold back the truth, right? Like you're not being a real friend or a good friend if you're just sugarcoating stuff and telling them what they want to hear. Yeah. And I think people are fragile as hell. And that's just like the way society is right now. And there's some hard truths that people just don't want to hear, because it would require them to, adapt new habits and
self-reflect.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
It's a sad reality right now.
Very true. So we'll switch gears a little bit. You're a dad of twins, obviously, which is a full-time job in and of itself. How do you balance the parenting with the business, with the fitness, with all the adventure, with the trail creations that you're doing? I mean, it's obviously a lot. What's your opinion on balance, if that's even such a thing?
I think priorities are like having your priorities in order is a big thing. So you have to know that without your health, literally nothing else matters. So like your kids don't matter, your wife doesn't matter, and everything else doesn't matter. Like your job isn't there. You're not making money, nothing else matters. So the way I see it is like the priority pyramid, if you will, goes health and wellness for me and the whole family. So that's a priority. We're never, ever straying away from that, because if you do, then it's just a matter of time before everything else kind of crumbles, under that. So, we're lucky. We're somewhat flexible in our work schedule, or I guess we're not lucky. We're intentional, right? So, we make sure that our work schedule can accommodate regular workouts. It's not always like I don't go to the same class every day, but I do movement every day. And the days that I'm like super busy, like, nonstop, 7:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. Then the kids are home. So like I can't really do like the workout that I wanted to do. I do a type of movement. And I often refer to my yard workouts, if you will. So like if I have a pile of gravel in my driveway, like that's a workout today. So I didn't get a CrossFit workout in today. That would have been ideal. But the kids were playing outside and I shoveled hard for 30 minutes. You know, I shoveled fast. And I took the wheelbarrow and I farmer carried that wheelbarrow, 50 yards that way and dumped it 25 times. So I think like getting that workout as a priority, or like your fitness and wellness as a priority, is number one. And I think where a lot of people fail there too is they overthink it. Okay, you don't have time to go to the gym every day. Well, me neither, but I still prioritize movement. So don't overthink a workout. A workout can be either 20 minutes in your garage, like on a mat with no exercise equipment at all, like do burpees and squats, or it can be that wheelbarrow workout when your kids are playing in the park next to you. So I think we set up fake barriers. It's like, I didn't have time today.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you didn't have time to go to the gym, but you still had time to move in another way that would have been as healthy for you. So I think that's like, and I know you're the same, like there's no good excuse for me. You can't find a good excuse to tell me that you can't, prioritize your fitness on a weekly basis. So like, don't overthink it. If you can't work out 6 days a week, top notch, no problem. Work out four times a week. That's a non-negotiable. And don't overthink it. Like I said, just do anything, move, whatever is doable for that day. The other thing too that I like to do, like if you're an entrepreneur or someone that manages their own schedule, is you don't book your meetings, then try to find a gap in between the meetings. You book the fitness, then book the meetings around the fitness. So I use my calendar, my iCalendar, like really religiously. I have like some nice colors, like everything's like in categories. And I'll book my fitness or my bike night or whatever, like in there. So I know nothing else will go on top of that time frame. That's a priority. 3:00 on Wednesday, I'm going biking. That's it. That's all. Book the babysitter if you need one, or whatever the case may be. You plan it out, be intentional about your fitness, and don't let anything get in the way.
For sure. Yeah. And totally agree with that, because Joanna's away in Scotland and she's been there for 2 weeks. I'm solo parenting. I didn't get to the gym very much this week. Monday was the only day. Okay. I'm finding ways to still get that movement, like you said, in my week, also including my daughter. So we went for a big 6-mile bike ride the other day. There's my activity for that day. It wasn't a gym session, and I'm totally fine with that. I feel like you said, people have these unrealistic expectations. I got to go 6 days a week. Okay, well, what if that's not possible? Do you feel like a failure and then you just say, screw it, I'm not going to do anything? Or do you still do something? So progress over perfection. We're not looking for perfect. We're looking for do something. And it's, if you can include your kids in that process, double win. Everybody's winning in that route.
100%. I agree. Yeah. And I think if you live a life where you prioritize fitness, your kids see it as, just like a normal everyday type thing, and encouraging them to join you for whatever type physical activity is going to be second nature to them. So it's likely not going to be that hard. Let's go for a bike ride. It's not going to be like a battle. It's going to be, they probably ask you to go for a bike ride, right? It's not even you that initiated that task. So yeah, raising the kids in that type of environment is going to end up building that kind of lifestyle for the family, where the kids know that it's part of the daily, weekly routine, either going to the gym as a spectator, if you will, like we bring our kids to the gym often, or joining us for a gym session in our garage, or we're going on a family bike ride. Like those are all weekly habitual things that we do. And it's not a shocker like to them when we, suggest that as something we're going to do as a family.
Yep, for sure. Do you have what would be one lesson that you hope that your kids absorb from watching how you live your life?
One lesson. I think for one part, for sure, I really hope that they acknowledge the importance of living a healthy and active lifestyle. And I think that's going to come natural to them. Um, and just the importance of being like the amount of importance that we put on being present with them, doing things with them. Um, I hope that I know that one day they'll realize, how special that was and how maybe it's not a commonality in every household. Um, I think we really enjoy spending time with our kids, and we try to not only go through life, but we try to create cool opportunities on weekdays and like on every day, like we make big things out of little things. So like if it's, eating the after school snack, well, how about we go eat the after school snack in the woods, like just creating those little opportunities where it makes it kind of extra special on a daily basis. And I hope that, my kids translate that into when they have their own kids, because I think it's a really special thing to have parents that truly enjoy to be involved in creating those special moments, not only like once every little while, but making the most out of every day, making little adventures out of every day. I, that's my mission is to create like a life full of adventure for them, and just to make them realize how much fun you can have with normal everyday things, and you don't have to, take massive trips or do super special things to have a special moment with your family.
So I've noticed some of your social media recently has been targeting dads in particular. Your one I just saw recently was about your rant on the dad bod. I'm sure that's gone viral. Um, if you had 30 seconds to give a pep talk to a tired, stretched out, thin dad that's, at his wit's end, what would you say to him? I'll give you a timer. 3, 2, 1, 30 seconds. Go.
I think the biggest thing is dads don't realize the potential they're leaving on the table. I think that's the biggest thing, right? And those are the dads that are probably going to argue this and say that, doesn't mean I'm not a good dad and blah, blah, blah. And I'm not saying you're not a good dad. I'm saying imagine if you would prioritize health, fitness, and all that stuff. Imagine your potential that you're leaving on the table. And why would you leave potential on the table? Like it's there. It's just a choice. And what's cool is like it looks like work right now, but it's actually a reward that's waiting for you. You just have to like do a little bit of work, or what seems to be like work. You have to get started on that stuff to reach that like insane reward. Imagine like if you'd have 25, 50% more energy. Who doesn't want more energy to play with their kids and to be more present and, to bike with your kids, not watch your kids do the thing with your kids. Why wouldn't you want that?
It's free.
Exactly.
It's like free. Yeah. It's just, I think of like elixir, like it's metaphysical, but it's just like the energy that you get from doing that. It's contagious. And that's, we all know this, your kids don't do what you tell them to do. They do what you've shown them to do. And so if you are that example, there's a better chance that they're also going to live their life the way you hope they do. And it's not through your words, it's definitely through your actions.
100%. I could not agree with that more. Uh, that's yeah. It's definitely one of the things that parents sometimes get upside down. they try to tell their kids what to do instead of, leading by example, which is very easy. And I think it's an easier parenting method than, always trying to drive stuff down your kids' ears or whatever.
Yeah, for sure. So we've seen this in our social circles and stuff as well, and definitely in a lot of the clients that we both worked with. A lot of adults will stop doing fun things when life gets hard. You, on the other hand, seem to lean into it. So why do you think that fun is an essential part of being resilient?
I think the day that you stop having fun is the day you start dying slowly. And I don't think those people necessarily realize that, because some of them have stopped having fun a long, long time ago. When I go mountain biking with my buddies, usually we're pretty religious on Wednesday nights. Like, that's our little core group. We go mountain biking on Wednesday nights. I don't think about much. I think about the present moment. The adrenaline rush that you get going down the hill is like, it's literally like it takes you back to when you were playing when you were 5, 6, 7 years old, and you had zero worries about anything: money, your house, your relationships, your health, whatever. Like, you don't have time to think about that stuff. And obviously when you go back to work the next day, or when you go back to real life, there's some of that stuff that kind of returns. The reality returns, but that moment, whether it's an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, is so healthy. Like, that mindset that you get into when you're doing that fun thing, that adrenaline rush, it's so healthy that it resets you back to zero. So yeah, you're going back to work tomorrow morning, but you're definitely like, if you were here before you went biking, you're here, So yeah, you have real problems, but you're ready to freaking attack them. Like,
you're coming back into it at a different level than you would have otherwise.
Yeah. And the other thing is, like, we've all heard this, but like, we're not here to just pay bills and die. So why the hell would you not have fun at the same time? Like, it doesn't mean because we're an adult that we can't have fun. And I think, like, there's this like grind mentality that people rave about and celebrate. And like, if you tell me right now that you work 60 hours a week, I'm not going to be like, wow, hey, Kevin, man, he's a hard worker. I'm going to be like, Kevin's dumb. Why are you working 60 hours a week? I'm not impressed. I'm the opposite of impressed, right? There's always going to be money to make. So, and if we're talking about parenting, you have like this, you're actually on the other kind of edge of the spectrum where, how old's your daughter now?
Going to be 12 this year.
So like, you don't have a ton of years left with her,
the fun years,
right? Yeah, exactly. So in that time frame of like, I'm going to call it like from 4 to 15 is probably like that kind of really, really fun time frame that you have with your kids, that they want to be with you, they want to do things with you, and you choose when they come with you to do the things. So anyone wasting that time away and not spending as much time as possible with their kids doing fun things, I just can't understand that, right? As long as you're, providing for your family, putting food on the table, and everyone's happy and healthy, and you have a house and blah, 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 there's going to be more money to be made down the road. And if you're making $1 million and still, being present for your kids, that's good on you. That's great. But if you're sacrificing time with your family to try to make 25 grand more this year or whatever, for whatever reason, I don't think there's any justification in my mind for that. Right.
So you and I have a different image or idea of what fun is. A lot of dads out there would say fun is drinking every weekend or trying to eat every single burger when it's Burger Fest time. Like, to them, that's their fun. So what's your message to them though? Because they're agreeing with you. They're like, yeah, I love having fun, but it's just in all of these different ways than what you and I would consider fun.
Right. I think it's just coincidental with the circle of people that they regularly surround themselves with. So, like, their circle likes to eat burgers and drink beer. My circle, and the reason why those people go eat burgers and drink beer is because they want to be around their friends. Like, it's the social aspect. It's not the burger. Like, I love a burger and a beer, but I know I can't do that on, every week or a couple times a week because that's just not a healthy habit, right? So instead, I feed my social need by going to do like a physical activity with like-minded people. So I like the social part of going mountain biking is probably 75% of why I go. I love that. I love the drive there. Like, I don't drive there alone. I drive there with like two or three guys in my truck and we talk the whole way. And it's great conversations because we're all like-minded. We all have similar goals in lives and ethics and whatnot. So the social part, I get the social part from it. Coincidentally, we're going to do something that's really healthy for us. Um, and I think it's easier said than done. Like, there's a lot of people that still hang out with the same people that they went to high school with. And
Mm.
I think it's just, they just do whatever those people like to do. Right. And those people they end up, liking to drink beer and eat hamburgers and whatnot. But sometimes, and it doesn't mean you can't be friends with those people. You can absolutely maintain your friendship with those people, but maybe you go to the burgers and beers and just drink one beer instead of like having a burger and five beers or something like that. And then I would encourage those people to find like a healthier circle of friends where you might do like a healthy activity that's also a social, such as going to a CrossFit gym. Like, that already. You're in the business of community, not the business of fitness. People keep going to your gym because they like the community, because they like the social part. So it's the physical part ends up being like a side effect of the social part.
Accurate. Totally agree. So when we're talking about, doing all these things, and you've definitely talked about, squeezing the most out of life, how do you make sure that that doesn't turn into burnout down the road?
Mm. That's a good question. I think everyone can handle certain like different levels of commitments, whether it's work or leisure or travel or whatever. Um, I think you have to find like what works for you. Um, and like on the level of fun and adventures and travels, like you don't need to make it a massive big thing, right? So like for me, having a fun weekend can also mean like Saturday morning, we're going to the gym, we're going to the market, and
Mm.
that's a lot of fun. That doesn't require money or time or like a massive trip to Costa Rica, to fit in that fun category. So I think don't overestimate what fun means. It can be a very small thing. And then once in a while, you fit those big pillars, like those big trips or a special activity, wherever it fits in without trying to make it fit in, on a too much of a regular basis. Right. And I think all the other aspects of life, like if you look at the professional side, like working, I think it's different for everyone. Some people probably can only handle 25 hours a week of work, and others can happily work 48 hours a week, and they want to keep doing that till they're 70 years old because they really like the people they work with and they
Mm.
like the work they do. And I think that's a massive part on the burnout side of your professional career or your the work you do is if you like what you do, you'll likely never burn out from it, right?
That's just
If
it.
you hate what you do, it probably doesn't matter if you work 20 hours a week or 80 hours a week, you're still going to hate it. Um, and it also depends how you see your work. Like some people literally see the work as the vehicle to the fun stuff. So money is the vehicle to all your goals and aspirations. You need money to do the fun things. you need money to buy a bike. You need money to go on the trip. So if you see your work as like, I don't mind going to work 8 to 5 because it gives me 100 grand a year. And all I need is 100 grand a year to do all the fun things I really like to do. So I'm going to keep doing that thing. And I'm happy with that. I'm not like that. I really have to like believe in what I do when I show up on Monday morning kind of thing. So I do see money as the vehicle to all my goals and aspirations, but I need to feel like I'm making a difference also when I show up, or else there's an end period to that thing I'm doing. At one point, I'm going to be like, well, this is boring. I don't feel like I'm doing anyone any good here. I know I have potential to make a difference somewhere else. I don't know if
I
that
think
answers your
yeah,
question.
yeah. And I think what you just said boils down to meaning. Whatever you're doing, if it has meaning to it, there's less likelihood that you're going to ever reach that burnout stage because you're going to feed off of it as opposed to it leaching the energy from you. And it blows my mind. Like I just had somebody cancel the gym this morning. It's one of these dual income, no kids people. Like they have a dog and they like golfing. And it's like, yeah, we're just really busy and we can't make it to the gym. Like, what the hell? Like, what are you doing? You're throwing away everything. Like,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
need to find better meaning than just like, I'm busy and I don't have time for things. You do.
Mm-hmm.
You can definitely do other things. It's the way they view it. So yeah, it definitely boils down to meaning and what it personally means to you for sure.
Yeah. And I think those type of people, like, you can only help the people that want to help themselves, right? So like they're missing a piece between them and you right now. They're missing like that moment of realization that they actually need you. They don't feel like they need you right now. So for them, it might be, sometimes it can be a piece of content on Instagram or whatever that makes you realize something, or it can be like, um, they go to the doctor and they get some news, they have
Yeah,
high
a health
blood
scare.
pressure,
Yeah, yeah,
and then they never quit the gym ever again because before they were cocky about their health, right? They were like, I'm 35, I'm invincible, like nothing's gonna happen to me. Then boom, I have high blood pressure. Oh shit. I have to go to the gym every week for the rest of my life. They're
yeah.
missing that moment sometimes.
It's crazy. It still blows my mind that people will just
Hmm.
use any excuse possible to get out of again a CrossFit gym or any gym activity should be doing hard things. It's just I'm gonna take it easy. For what and for how long? That's the
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
Matt, if we fast forward, let's say 20 years from now, 20, let's say, I don't know, 20 or 30 years from now, what do you hope people will say that you stood for?
That's a, oof,
That's a
it's
good
one you
question, I
have to
guess. You
reflect
got a
on.
good, I got a
Yeah.
good sigh out of you on that one.
Yeah. My head goes to my kids and my wife mainly because that's like at the end of the day, it's really the only people I care what they think about me.
Good one.
And I want my kids to say I was a good dad. Like I was present. I gave them a good childhood, like great memories. We did a lot of fun stuff together. Like that's just what I want. I can't explain it, but that's really my driving force is I just want to have fun. Like I don't see why you wouldn't have fun in life. I just don't understand why that wouldn't be like your main focus when you wake up in the morning. Like, how can we have fun today? And that's what I want my kids to think is like, holy geez, we had a lot of fun. Like we did so many cool, like little things. And hopefully they transfer that over to if they become parents, like to their kids one day. And for my wife, like I know we're just on the same page, my wife and I. So we want very similar things in life. And I think relationship wise, it's an ongoing thing. Like I've changed a lot, I've evolved a lot, and so did Renee. We keep improving on our um, on the points that we're not so good at relationship wise. And I hope that my wife would say that, I was there for her when she needed me, and that I supported her no matter what, right? Like I think that's the ultimate goal in a relationship, is like, even if your wife is wrong, or like if you don't completely understand, like I think you need to support her decisions, and be there for your spouse when they have a rough day, a rough week, a rough year, and just make sure that they come out on the positive side, kind of thing. And for the rest of the people, I mean, I think I don't know. I don't know if I really care. I
Yeah.
really like, I hope I inspire others. That's truly what fires me up. I really hope I inspire others. Dads specifically right now in the time of my life that I'm in. It's like we talked about, like I'm really motivated to inspire other dads to realize that there's potential left on the table. But I really I really don't care what people think about me. It's really my family that's my focus.
Cool. So if you boil that down, it's, support for what you stood for family wise, and then inspiration basically for everybody else, which are two very admirable things to have as a legacy. It's, I think it's what a lot of people would also want to have as their legacy for sure. One thing I took away, I wrote this down, which I might make the title of this podcast. This is for the listeners. Write this down and put it somewhere where you're going to see it every day when you wake up. And this is especially true if you have younger kids between that sweet spot of like 4 to 15. How can I have fun today? Or how can we have fun today? And if you give that question an honest answer, your life is going to improve tremendously, and so will the experience that you have with your children.
Mm-hmm.
That was a powerful one. I wrote that down. I circled it and everything. I'm like, this is meaningful. And it's something that you just said in passing, but like you said, that's one thing that's inspiring. Like, that's a really great question. Not one to ask hypothetically, but that's a practical thing that you can do and ask and answer every single day, no matter how big, how small. Like you said, you don't have to go to Costa Rica to have fun today. Mm-hmm. You can easily do something out in the garage gym or on a bike or whatever. Just find something fun to do. I love that. Yeah. Matt, before we wind up here today, I always ask my guests the same question, and I'd love to hear what your definition of resiliency is in your own words.
Resiliency is not giving up on yourself at any point in your life. So whether whatever you're going through, there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. It's like I said at the beginning, the term of how long it's going to take you from where you are to where you want to be is different for everyone. And it's going to rely on the factors that you include in your everyday life and every week. But I think resiliency for me is knowing that your current situation is not your end all be all. There's always potential.
Love that. Matt, you also have a podcast. Can you tell our listeners about that, and what's your mission?
Sure. My podcast is called Driven Dad. I interview dads specifically. And it's not a parenting podcast per se. It's more of a highlight of dads that are living life above and beyond mediocrity. I love to highlight dads that are, living life in a fun way, and they're finding success in different ways, whether it's in their businesses or personally, or if they're, traveling the world with their family, whatever the case may be. When something is worth highlighting, I believe the world needs to kind of hear those stories. Being a parent is challenging. So when dads, do some stuff that is above average, it's like I said, I believe it's worth highlighting. So I really love to hear those stories personally, and give everyone an opportunity to hear those stories also.
Love that. Great mission and very admirable. Matt, anything else you'd like to let our listeners know before we sign off, where they could find you on the socials if they want to connect with you?
Yeah, sure. They can find me at Matt, MATTT .B. That's my Instagram handle. And Driven Dad Method on Instagram also. And yeah, I really appreciate you having me on the podcast. It was a lot of fun.
Right on. Thanks for coming on, Matt. It was great to have you, and I'm sure you've inspired a lot of our listeners as well. So appreciate you.
Thanks, Kevin. Really appreciate that.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with others or leave a rating and review. To catch all the latest episodes, be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.